Hey, good morning. What's going on, people? I'm back again for a second attempt at making another video. And this time I'm going to be answering for change movement Q&A racism. When I first heard this question about what if racism didn't exist, or what if your memory of racism didn't exist? Hold on. How would that affect you? Or how would you think differently? The very first thing that came to my mind was a quote from Stephen King's book, The Last Stand, and it goes, "Show me a man or a woman alone, and I'll show you a saint. Give me two, and they'll find love. Give me three, and they'll invent this charming thing that we call society. Give me four, they'll build a pyramid. Give me five, and they'll reinvent. Give me five, and they'll make one the outcast. Give me six, and they'll reinvent prejudice. Give me 7, and 7 years, they'll reinvent warfare." When I first read that statement, I was like, wow, that's such a profound statement on human nature. Because it's just absolutely true. At least I view it that way. It's the less people you have, the less complicated it gets, basically. So, how would I recognize racism if it didn't exist, or if I did not have memory of it? I think initially, honestly, I would not know what was going on, but my gut would tell me that something is wrong. I would say, hey, you know what? This thing is different. It's not an indifference. It's not a classist thing. It's not part of a caste system or anything. Because classism and caste is something that happens within your own ethnic group or national background. That's where your hierarchy in there is, and you're holding your own people down based on their money, or where they fit into what you consider society, or wherever they're born at. Racism is like, I guess, a power struggle thing, where those who consider themselves to be in power, or the majority, want to keep the minority down by inflicting feelings of pain on them and everything, by trying to make them feel inferior or belittle them in some way. And honestly, I think it would take me a while to identify this feeling, because if it doesn't exist and we don't have a word, then how can you identify something that you have no way of making that connection with? But I don't think it would be like an extremely long time. I think somewhere within 6 months to a year, or maybe less, I will figure it out. Because why it doesn't exist, we would be in a form of segregation, as ForChangeMovement kind of mentioned. You know, you would stick with your own. You would stick with what is familiar to you. Birds of a feather flock together. So I'm quite sure that if this happened and I stuck with my own peoples, when we were talking, we would recognize that something is wrong, but we would not be able to identify this feeling. It would affect my thinking, because my thinking would be limited. Although it may be vast, it would also be limited at the same time, because I would only have contact with people who are like me. Some may think like me, and some may not think like me, and that's where the only difference will come in. I will only have my opinion and the opinion of people who resemble me, instead of having this vast input of various backgrounds and everything. I would probably miss out on a lot of cool inventions. Hey, you never know. I might miss out on a computer, because what if it's not my people that would have made the computer? And what if it was some other nationality that made the computer? We wouldn't know, because we wouldn't even know they exist. But the funny thing is, I can't help but thinking about loss now, because I could hear people whispering throughout the little area that we're in, or land that we're on, and they're saying, watch out for the others. There's always been the others. They kill us, they take us, they da-da-da-da-da. But I would be confused, because I wouldn't understand who the others are, because I would have virtually no contact with them. Wow, how much would TV shows change? What if we didn't have to live up to this image of being thugs and gangsters, or, not that I'm saying y'all really trying, or rather, we're not really trying to live up to the image, but what if it would change how we saw TV shows? What if it was more positive black TV shows on TV? What if more of them were family orientated? You know, what if, you know, I wonder how drugs would play a part in the society. It would also affect me because I would never taste the foods I've tasted from other countries. I would have never met the people I met from other countries. I most likely would have never visited many of the countries I have visited because I wouldn't go anywhere. I think also at the same time, I think fear may have more control over you than you realize, because you will be afraid to really go out of your comfort zone. I think that, what's his name, 305636, he hit the nail on the head when he said that if you want to see someone that doesn't know about racism and doesn't think it exists, look at the children. The children nowadays, like he said, they really don't have a true understanding of slavery. Not all of them, a majority of them, because a lot of them, they just refuse to acknowledge it and want to sweep it under the carpet. Or they'll say, get over it, it's moved on, it's hell many years ago. But for some of us, it's not that many years ago. I mean, especially for me, it's not that many years ago. It's like 3 or 4 generations back. You know, I can literally look at my family. My father was born 1933. His mother was born 1896. His father was born 18-something. Which means they were probably born, of course his mother was born after slavery, but her family were never slaves. His father's family were slaves, and they were in South Carolina. And it's just, I mean, how can you say get over it? How can you brush it underneath the carpet? It's not something you can, you have to acknowledge it, or it's going to happen again. Or worse, something worse will happen. And I just think it's something that plagues mankind. And I will never get over it. And that's my 2 cents.